So here's a hard truth. Just because someone holds a high-ranking title in the music business, CEO, VP, president, A&R, right, doesn't make them a leader. Most of these so-called executives have never even been trained to lead effectively, and it absolutely shows. From broken artist relationships to decisions that gut the culture, we're watching the fallout in real time today, right now, in the music, in the headlines, and in the courtroom. The music industry is full of people with flashy titles, executives this, CEO that, but most of them have no clue how to actually lead people. Holding authority isn't the same as having the skills to inspire, guide, or grow talent or teams. Too many of today's so-called leaders climb the ranks chasing power, not purpose. And they skip the part where they were supposed to develop empathy, vision, accountability, or even the ability to elevate the people that are around them. And I'm not just talking, right? I've spent over 25 years doing this, right? Training leaders inside Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies, working with people who actually understand what it takes to lead effectively, to lead with purpose and impact. When I look at what's happening in the music industry today, it's clear. We don't need new strategies. We need a complete reset of what leadership actually is. In this video, I'm going to break down why having the title of music executive doesn't mean you're a leader, and how that disconnect is damaging artists, teams, and the culture we all claim to care about. One of the biggest problems that I see in the music industry right now is that you have a whole lot of people calling themselves executives who don't know the first thing about being an executive and being a leader. And it's not just the major labels. This is happening all over the culture. You've got people launching publishing companies and branding firms and artist development platforms and consulting services. And the first thing they do is slap CEO or executive in their bio like it actually means something. But leadership isn't a title, it is a responsibility. And too many of them are operating with no skill set, no mindset, and no character to actually back it up. Most of these folks didn't even earn their position by leading people well. They got by because they were good at networking, or they were good at chasing money or staying visible. But visibility isn't leadership. Hustling your way into a room doesn't mean that you know what to do once you're there. And that gap between power and actual leadership, that's what is causing the real damage today in the industry. We keep seeing the same toxic patterns from people sitting in powerful music executive roles, and it's not by accident. I mean, we see it all the time, right? You got a former label CEO that built his empire on fear, running a workplace where humiliation and intimidation were just business as usual. We got a global known mogul who was caught on camera, assaulting a woman. Lawsuits piled up, but the industry stayed quiet and they just kept protecting this particular individual. I mean, we had a top CEO or executive that was faced with multiple sexual misconduct claims from staff. The reports were buried and absolutely nothing changed. Right? We had a former label president who was called out for harassment, but instead of the consequences, he got rewards, he got new deals and more rooms to walk into. Right? There was a long-time executive that got sued for abusing his household staff, which is just another example of power being used with zero accountability. And there was also a respected industry founder that has racked up assault allegations for years, while the system around him worked overtime to silence the victims and to keep his image clean. These aren't just one-off scandals. These are patterns that we're seeing. What we're looking at is a full-blown leadership failure baked right into the DNA of the music industry. The result is that fear runs the room. Politics before people. Innovation gets smothered. Careers get wrecked. Talent burns out, and chaos becomes the norm. I mean, you got executives chasing short-term wins while ignoring long-term impact. And the worst of all, they're completely disconnected from the culture that they claim to be leaders in. When leadership breaks down, everybody pays for it, from the entry-level staff person to the A-list artist, all the way down to the fans. Us, as fans, music creatives, we can feel that something is absolutely off. I mean, just look at the headlines, look at the online newspapers, right? Look at the media. We know that something is off. Something's crazy happening within the music industry. I mean, I don't ever think the music industry was built on having effective leadership. One of the biggest problems that I see is that music executives are turning social media into a stage instead of treating it like a leadership tool. I mean, we've got label heads and executives out here chasing clout, ranting like influencers, airing out private business, throwing artists under the bus, picking fights online like they're in a reality TV show. But let's be real. That's not branding. That's not leadership. That's reckless, right? It's ego with a phone and a Wi-Fi connection. So instead of setting the tone, they're stirring the pot. Instead of protecting the culture that they say they claim that they are leaders in, they are exploiting it for engagement. A real leader doesn't weaponize their platform. They don't leak information. They don't tear down the same artists and teams that they are supposed to be lifting up and supposed to be leading. And here's the real damage. When people in power act like influencers instead of leaders, the next generation starts thinking clout matters more than craft. That toxic energy trickles down, telling everyone that chaos gets rewarded and that going viral matters more than building something real. With over 25 years of developing leaders inside Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies, I've seen these patterns over and over again. And right now, the music industry is locked into some of the worst behaviors that I've seen. So here are the 8 core reasons why people in power, especially in this music industry, I'm telling y'all, are failing to lead the culture, to lead the industry. And here's why the culture keeps rewarding it anyway. Number 1 is obsession with profit over people. I mean, let's call it what it is. A lot of these executives care more about the bag than they do about the people. They're not building culture. They're chasing numbers. And they don't care about the artist's vision or the team's growth. They just want the next bag, right? The next paycheck, the next viral hit, the next stat that looks good on the billboard. And when money is the only priority, ethics is 100% going to get thrown out the window. Creativity is going to get boxed in. The culture is going to get exploited. This is how we get leaders who follow trends instead of setting them and who treat artists like products instead of people. That's not strategy. That's not leadership. That's survival mode. And it's killing the soul of the industry. The next thing is lack of leadership development. Here's the truth. Most music executives were never taught how to lead. They got their stripes from grinding, from hustling, staying visible, not from learning how to actually manage people, build culture, and guide talent. They know how to move money. They know how to close deals and run the game, but ask them to coach a team, resolve a conflict, create a space where artists and staff can thrive. They fold because they don't know how to do it. Too many people still operate with that outdated, it's my way or the highway type of mindset, type of energy. And all it does is just really kill creativity. It really breaks trust and it stunts the growth of the people, the artists, the staff, the culture. Leadership isn't about control. And if you think it is about control, you need to go take basic leadership one-on-one today, right now. Stop watching the video. Go take basic leadership one-on-one. I'm sure they got free courses online, YouTube, LinkedIn, because trust me, you're going to need it if you think it's about control. It's about connection. It's about helping people to excel. It is about bringing the most and the best out of the people. And the reality is most of them that are in these leadership roles miss that lesson completely. Number 3 is industry obsession with power over purpose. I mean, once again, if you think it's about control and power, you shouldn't be in leadership. I mean, this industry is addicted to power, not purpose. It's all about who you know, what rooms you're in, how many followers you got, and how loud your name rings in the culture and in these rooms. Leadership gets handed out based on clout, not competency and capability. Nobody's asking, can you actually build something that lasts? Can you actually lead a team of people? Can you actually execute at a high level? Can you actually get people to give their biggest and highest and best contributions? No, you can't. But you're running around here with these labels like, I'm the CEO of this, and I'm the head of this, and I'm the executive of this. No. All they worried about is, can you get us into that room, right? Can you close this deal? You're not leading, right? That's how we end up with executives who look good on paper, but they can't do anything else. They can't lead a team, they can't develop talent, and they can't even hold a vision past the next rollout. It's all status and no substance. And this is why the culture keeps getting mishandled. This is why the culture keeps failing, because of these types of leaders that are mishandling their role as a so-called executive within this music industry. Number 4 is the toxic corporate structures. I mean, let's really be honest. The system is rigged to reward the wrong stuff. And too many labels and entertainment companies, the ones who get promoted aren't the ones fighting for the culture. They're the ones playing it safe, chasing data, saying yes to anything that's not going to shake the table, right? I mean, these are the individuals who are really standing up for artists, the ones who are really challenging the norm or pushing for real change, right? Well, why do we got to do that? Why do we got to make them stand on tables? Why we got and rap for us? Why we got to do this? Why we got to single out these individuals? Why can't we treat people fairly? Why can't we build people up, right? And these types of people, they get boxed out, they get blacklisted, or they get pushed to the sideline. In this game, leadership isn't nurtured, it is punished. Trust me, I've seen it. I've talked to many people about it. It's punished. Well, actually it's rewarded, right? Bad leadership is rewarded at the highest level. You can really look at the news headlines and think about what leadership is and these executives that are leading these organizations and these companies. Yeah, sure. The private sector, when I say private sector, I mean any other industry outside of the music industry. Yeah, they have their same type of things, but not at this particular level within the music industry. I mean, that's why the industry stays stuck in the same cycle. Number 5 is that we have a toxic industry culture. This industry didn't just end up toxic, it was built that way. Abuse, exploitation, gatekeeping, it's been normalized because the people in charge either participated in it or they turned a blind eye to it. And when the leaders at the top let it slide, it trickles all the way down. The worst part, it's been happening for so long, people think it's just how the game works. But this isn't culture. This is corruption in disguise. And as long as the same type of leadership continue to run the show, nothing's ever going to change. Number 6 is a culture of fear, not vision. Too many executives are out here leading from insecurity, not intention. Trust me, insecurity is how you can tell someone is not an effective leader. Insecurity shows up in many different ways. And one of the ways insecurity shows up is through intimidation and through fear and through control. Right? These are people who are scared of losing relevance, scared of being challenged, scared of getting called out. So instead of leading with vision, they lead with fear. And that fear trickles down. So, staff stays quiet, artists play it safe, innovation dies before it's even started. People stop taking risks. That's the biggest thing. They stop taking risks, not because they don't have ideas, but because they know that the people in charge won't protect them if things go left. I'm just thinking about, right? So on the podcast, we talked recently about the whole Carrie Hilson, right? And she was blacklisted for the diss against Beyonce, and she didn't write the words, and right, Polo the Don, and I forgot the other lady's name, kind of was like, hey, you write this song, or we're going to shelf you. Probably that's what her thinking was, and so she went along with it, right? A great leader would have said, you know what? I don't think that's the right move. I don't think we should be able to do that. A great leader would have said, hey, Carrie, you make great valid points. I think that maybe we shouldn't take this direction. Great leaders listen to their staff. They take their input, not, give them fear tactics or display fear tactics to get them to do something. Well, if you don't do it, guess what? You're not going to have a career, right? They use these coercive, that's the word, right? Coercive methods in order to get them to do things. That's the crazy part that's happening within the music industry. I mean, you can't build greatness in an environment where people are scared to speak up. Number 7 is clout and image over substance. I mean, today's social media era, we got a lot of executives that are out here confused. They think visibility equals value. Most of these executives are more focused on curating their personal brand than building anything real. More worried about likes and aesthetics and viral moments and impacts and execution and things like leadership. They're not leading, they're performing. And when the spotlight that they're in matters more than the work itself, the culture is going to suffer. Because real leadership doesn't need applause. It leaves a mark whether the cameras are on or not. And a lot of these leaders today, executives, strive to be in front of the camera, strive to give their thoughts and opinions on everything. They strive to be like an influencer. No, you don't need to be an influencer. You know how you can influence through your leadership. That is how you be an influencer. It's influence through effective leadership. But you're not doing that, right? Because you're chasing clout. You want to be this thing that you don't need to be, because we don't need you to be that. We need you to be a leader within the industry. And number 8 is resistance to accountability. Oh gosh, here's that word that people don't like, accountability. Leadership without accountability isn't leadership. It's ego in disguise. But a lot of executives in this game move like they're untouchable, surrounded by contracts, status, and legal teams. They operate in silos, never challenge, never check, never correct it. They don't listen. They don't listen. They don't own their mistakes. They just double down on it. They use these tactics of fear and control to make it feel like it's you. It is not them. That's the crazy part. That's not leadership. That's craziness. And because there's no real consequence to this accountability, they keep doing the same friggin' thing over and over and over and over again, protected by the system and propped up by silence. Accountability isn't a threat. It's a requirement if you're going to be a leader within any industry. And without it, everything else is going to fall apart. You know what? And let me be real. Whether you're at a major label or you're running your own music brand, if you call yourself an executive or CEO, the standard is higher now, right? You have now taken on something that's higher. You've put yourself in a position that requires a higher level of accountability, a higher level of trust, right? Titles, clout, and followers don't make you a leader. Responsibility does. I don't care how many followers you got. I don't care what you put in your bio. I don't care what type of clout you have. If you're being irresponsible in the role that you are in right now, and you call yourself a leader, and you got CEO or executive or head of in your title, you need to stop. You need to stop right now. That doesn't make you a leader. Responsibility does. Too many people are chasing power without the skills to lead. No training, no emotional intelligence, no real support for their teams or artists. And it's hurting the culture. And it's so crazy because I hear some of these people talking about, well, you gotta have emotional intelligence. Well, you gotta learn how to build a team, but you're not really doing it. You're not really leading the culture. You're hurting the culture. So here's how we gotta fix it, right? If you're one of these leaders, here's how you gotta do it. Number one is you gotta stop leading with greed. If every decision you make is about the bag, you are not leading. You're just hustling with a title. Build with the people that are around you, not just for profit, but learn how to build them up, build out and draw out the capabilities of those individuals to help them achieve their highest capability, not just your highest capability, because leadership really isn't about you as the leader. It's about the people that you're leading. Number two, either get trained or get out, right? Leadership is a skill. You are not entitled to that title because you started a business, you manage a few artists, or you have access, or you can get into these rooms. Learn how to lead or step aside for someone else who will. Number three is to fix your culture. If your team is burnt out, your clients don't trust you, and people are scared to speak up, you're not leading. You're just running a very toxic operation. Leadership starts with creating a safe, strong, safe. You probably heard this word. You probably don't know what it means, but you probably heard the word creating a psychologically safe environment. If you don't have that, you're not really leading effectively. Your operation doesn't feel like it's welcoming and it's safe for people to thrive and for people to grow and for them to say things in that environment, to try out things because they fear the leader. They fear repercussions. They fear what's going to happen because of you as a leader. You also need to kill the ego. Bottom line, ego is not leadership. Being loud online, belittling people, or flexing power doesn't make you a boss. It makes you a liability. True leadership happens when the cameras are off. When people can't really see who you are in front of this camera thing that I'm talking into right now, that's when real leadership happens. Number five is to make room for accountability. Don't just demand loyalty, invite feedback. Whether you're running a label or you're a one-person brand, you should always be able to answer to the people that you serve. Then a lot of leaders have issues with that. Well, why do I got to answer to them? I'm the boss. Yeah, that's not how that works, bro. A leader serves the people. They're leading the people. You say you're leading the culture. How are you leading the culture? If you think the culture is all about you, it's not. You have to lead, which is getting to my number six. Lead through empowerment, not fear. Intimidation is not leadership. Control is not respect. The strongest leaders are the ones who build others up, not tear other people down so that they can stay on top. That's what you think leadership is, and that is not. Number seven is to think beyond the moment, right? Stop chasing what's hot. Learn how to develop artists. And I don't mean develop artists in a way where you are breaking the artist down and talking bad to them and creating doubt in that artist and going through the process of saying, well, I got to break you down to this level in order to build you up. That's not how it works, right? That's not how development works, right? You may go, oh, in music, it works that way. No. Development is development, regardless if it's in music, if it's in finance, if it's in the corporate structure, if it's on a farm, doesn't matter. If you developing people, there are core things that you do to develop people, that you do to grow people. And some of these tactics that I've seen is not what it is. Because here's the thing, you got to learn to build something that's going to last longer than your next release. Short-term success is cool, right? We get it. Hooray, it's great to have it, but long-term impact is leadership. And number 8 is to stay rooted in the culture. You can't lead a culture that you don't respect or that you don't understand or that you exploit. You got to stay tapped in. Keep learning. Stop acting like the culture owes you something just because you've been around and you got a title. So let's be clear. The problem isn't a lack of executives. We got plenty of people calling themselves that. The problem is a lack of leadership. Too many people at the top are holding power without purpose. They got the titles, they got the access, they got the influence, but no vision, no EI, right? Or EQ, whichever one you want to put. They got no emotional, well, EQ is really emotional quotient, is how you measure how much emotional intelligence that you actually have. Because a lot of people throw out EQ, but EQ is the measurement. You got no emotional intelligence. You don't have any self-awareness. You don't have the ability to lead people appropriately. You don't have the ability to grow culture or to protect the spaces that you profit from. So this industry is being run by egos, not leaders. And the damage is everywhere. Burnt out teams, disrespected artists, and a culture that's being exploited instead of nurtured. We don't need more hype. We don't need more status. We need real leaders who know how to lead and how to build something that lasts. Because until leadership grows up within this culture, it is going to stay stuck. The culture is going to stay stuck right where it's at. So let's talk. What does real leadership in music actually look like to you? Take a moment, drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's open this conversation up. Whether you're an artist, a manager, a label staffer, or even an executive yourself. If this hit a nerve or made you think, share it. The culture deserves better. You deserve better. And it starts with holding the mirror up. And as always, keep creating, stay inspired, and keep pushing the boundaries of music. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.